Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting installment of D.R.A.D. You might be wondering, what does D.R.A.D stand for? Well, it stands for Dragons Refuse Annual Dental. That's right, we talk about how it's frustrating that dragons do not go to the dentist often and they just refuse to get annual dental. Um, no, it doesn't. But in this episode of Dread, I am going to talk about this article I found by AOL.com. It's titled Black Bear Stumbles Out of Hibernation and Delights Everyone with Sweetest Surprise. It says in the article, does it say who wrote this, by the way? This was posted April 7th. So this was back in April 7th when this is posted. I'm trying to get this recorded as soon as I can before it becomes no longer relevant. It says, it's that time of the year when hibernating animals are waking up from their winter hibernation, hungry and ready to eat and get back to living. In Yellowstone National Park, Wyoming, one black bear has spotted emerging from her den, and she looks like I do every morning. ABC News shared a short clip showing the bear slowly stumbling out of her den. She looks tired, like she hasn't quite adjusted to waking up and the sunlight yet. Yeah, that's because they're coming out of hibernation. Oh, wow, it looks like they haven't seen the sun in days. Yeah, probably because they haven't seen the sun in days. Uh, but after she finally exits the den, it's clear that she's not alone, watching to see who else is in there. The bear cubs weren't quite ready to come out into the world just yet. They were waiting for mom to check things out and make sure it was safe for them to come out. I wondered if whomever recorded this video stuck around to see the cubs come out. But it turns out the bear cubs don't normally begin leaving the den until they're around 5 months old. They've still got a ways to go. I love watching videos of bear cubs with their mom. After seeing several videos of a mama bear with her babies, it's very clear where the term mama bear comes from. They are very protective of their cubs, even though they do encourage them to explore the world around them. That's actually okay. So this part here, uh, bear cubs don't normally begin leaving the den until they're around 5 months old. I didn't know about that. Makes sense though, but I didn't know about that. Is there any more? At Michael L. Squibb started a conversation when she shared, when I was in Alaska, I learned they give birth while they're asleep in hibernation. No way! No way! They give birth while they're sleeping in hibernation? No. Commenters had a lot of funny responses to her comments, especially saying how crazy it would be to wake up and have two babies next to you. How crazy that'd be to wake up and there's a family. Like, I don't remember you being here. But a few other commenters clarified, including at Tracy Williamson, who said they give birth during hibernation, but they are awake and aware. Okay, so it's not so much that. Yeah, I could see that. I also kind of had a little doubt in me of like, there's no way that they're fully asleep during the entire process. So they're kind of awake and they are aware during the process of giving the birth to the cubs, but they still do that in hibernation, which is something I didn't. So I learned two things during this episode. I did not know that they give birth in hibernation, and I did not know uh, that the cubs don't leave the cave for the first 5 months. The reason why I'm saying I learned new things, I don't read the whole article when I first save these. I just read the headline. If the headline sounds interesting, then I'll save it, and then I'm like, okay, I'll save that for D.R.A.D. I have something to talk about in a D.R.A.D episode. Um, let's continue reading this real quick. This makes sense because bears do not go into a true hibernation state. Instead, they enter a state of rest called torpor. I'm almost certain I did not read that correctly. Torpor is often referred to as temporary hibernation and differs from the hibernation we typically think of. While it may seem like a technicality, there is a significant difference. Hibernation is a voluntary process where torpor is an involuntary state. While in torpor, bears go into a deep sleep for much shorter amounts of time, up to a few hours or a day at most. They can still be active, but everything just kind of slows down. Interesting to find out that something we learned as kids turned out to be wrong. Uh oh, this is a different. Okay, I was like, there's like a whole other article below that. like AOL.com is kind of weird like that. Like you keep scrolling and then all of a sudden, beware of this invasive frog that could be lurking in your yard. I'm like, wait, what? What did that have to do with the bears? They're in alliance with each other. The bears and that frog. They work together to to go in your backyard. um wow. I just saw a picture of this bear. I'm gonna try to like take a screenshot of it and then post it in D.R.A.D. That's what the bear looks like right here. Look at that. That is a bear not fully awake. Imagine just kind of waking up, right, in your house, and you're going outside to get the newspaper, and there's just some person outside your front door taking pictures of you. You're in your like robe. You've got your slippers on, your morning coffee. You're just fresh waking up. You just want your newspaper. And someone taking photos of you. Is that something that people still do? Is newspapers even still a thing? I don't know. I'm not so sure. I like to think so. I really do. I like to think that people to this day sit down at the breakfast table and read a newspaper. Uh, I know some business people like to look at the business section, and some sports fans will look at the sports section. Me, I look at the comics section. I like to read the comic book section. Um, I'm just now realizing I haven't actually touched a newspaper in forever. It feels like it's been a bajillion years since I've touched a newspaper, but I wouldn't mind getting back into it, to be honest. I would not mind, I don't know, actually holding a newspaper and just film myself going through the daily newspaper and just read anything that looks interesting. I mean, I'm kind of doing that now, but like, I feel like having a physical newspaper in my hands in front of a camera adds a sort of layer of entertainment because they're kind of big and wonky. Like they're it's almost the size of your torso opening one up. Like it's this big floppy thing that you have to like bend and fold and like you get ink all over your hands. There's not only is there like the ink, but like there's also the smell of a newspaper. Newspaper itself has a very distinct smell to it. Um and like I've seen people even talk about how if you rub newspaper together, you could use that as insulin. So like if you're cold and you don't know what to do, just rub newspaper and shove that into like your jacket or something, and that will cause natural insulin that will warm you up. I don't know where I was going with that last one. I don't know what the importance was of me telling you that fact, but it popped in my head and I spoke it out loud and I thought it would be cool. And now you know it. Newspaper is good for, is it insulin? Insulation? Installment? Makes you warm. It makes you warm. Make sure you crumple it up into a ball, by the way. That way you get nice and installation. Installation. Installment. That's gonna be it for this episode. I'm going to stop what I'm doing, which is essentially just rambling, and end the video. Thank you so much for joining this fun and fantastic episode of D.R.A.D. And I will catch each and every single one of you next time.